Ethan stood by his bedroom window, his tired eyes gazing at the dull gray sky. Thick clouds drifted slowly across the horizon, as if they had nowhere to be. He had just graduated from college with decent grades and was working a stable office job. Life wasn't hard. He could pay rent, afford his daily morning coffee, and even had a little extra to catch a movie on the weekends. But deep down, he felt an emptiness he couldn't explain. Each day felt like a soulless loop. Wake up, go to work, come home, scroll on his phone, go to sleep. No highs, no turning points, just the same old scenes playing over and over like a worn-out movie he'd watched too many times. Ethan never talked about it. His friends still saw him smiling, cracking jokes at hangouts. His mom still got warm hugs every time he visited on the weekends. But only Ethan knew, behind that smile was a thin mask hiding a soul quietly slipping into a void. He kept wondering, is this it? Is this what life's going to be? A blur of days that leave no mark? One Saturday afternoon, with the sky as heavy as his mood, Ethan decided to visit his grandfather. Thomas, 78, lived alone in an old wooden house on the edge of town. The place felt like an oasis, far removed from the rush of city life. No honking cars, no endless email alerts, no flashy social media posts feeding the comparison trap. Just the steady ticking of a wall clock, the faint scent of peppermint tea, and his grandfather's raspy laugh telling stories that seemed to go nowhere but somehow felt comforting. Every time Ethan came here, he could finally breathe, like all the weight in his chest had loosened, if only for a while. That day, after helping his grandfather tidy up the plants in the yard, Ethan settled into the old armchair in the living room. Thomas was reading the paper, glasses sliding down his nose, occasionally mumbling a comment about something he read. The quiet was so deep, Ethan could hear the wind slipping through the cracks in the door. He looked at his grandfather, then suddenly blurted out, "Grandpa, have you ever felt like your life was meaningless?" As soon as the words came out, Ethan regretted it. He feared it was too abrupt, too heavy. But Thomas just looked up, set the paper on the table, and didn't seem surprised at all. His eyes were calm, as if he'd been waiting for this question. "Oh, absolutely," he said, his voice steady. "More than once, especially when I was younger, when I thought I had to do something huge to prove myself. But let me tell you a little story. It's nothing big, but I think you'll get it." Ethan nodded, leaning forward slightly. He always liked the way his grandpa told stories, simple, grounded, but they always left him thinking, like a pebble dropped in a still lake, sending ripples long after. "A few years ago," his grandfather began, "I was riding the bus during rush hour. You know how it is, total chaos. People crammed in, traffic crawling like molasses. The air feels thick and everyone's on edge. I was sitting by the window, watching it all, and I thought, why am I here? I should have stayed home, walked, done anything but this." Ethan chuckled softly, nodding in agreement. "I've thought that too, so many times, especially when I'm stuck in traffic and it's hot as hell." "Exactly," his grandfather said, smiling. "But then I heard it, a siren, an ambulance. That wailing sound sliced through the sea of cars. And something amazing happened. Drivers started pulling to the side. Motorcyclists got on the curb. Even our bus driver nudged closer to the sidewalk. Nobody told them to. There wasn't a single cop directing traffic. People just knew. Someone in that ambulance needed help." He paused, took a sip of tea, his eyes lit with a subtle gleam. That person could have been a sick child, a mother in labor, an old man having a heart attack. No one knew. But everyone who made room, truck drivers, cyclists, random commuters, they all became part of that person's rescue story. Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of the story. "Just one small act, but it meant so much," he said. "That's not even the best part," Thomas went on, his smile widening. "As I watched everyone making way, I had this thought. Besides the people out on the road, who else helped save the person in that ambulance?" Ethan frowned, trying to guess. "You mean the hospital staff?" "No," his grandfather said, shaking his head with a mischievous glint in his eye. "I mean the people who weren't on the road that day." Ethan looked up, puzzled. "The people who stayed home?" "That's right," his grandfather nodded. "Someone decided to stay late at work for 30 more minutes to finish a report. A mom chose to keep playing with her kid instead of heading to the grocery store right away. A college student took a nap in their apartment instead of going out for coffee. All of them. They had no idea, but their absence made the road just a little less crowded, and that made it possible for the ambulance to get through in time. Ethan's eyes widened in surprise. "But they didn't do anything," he said, skeptical. "Exactly," Thomas replied. "They didn't do anything at all. But their absence, their unintentional choices, created the space for something good to happen. That's a kind of quiet meaning, one that doesn't need applause." The room fell silent. Ethan leaned back in the chair, eyes drifting to the window, where tree branches swayed gently in the wind. He didn't say anything, but something, like a small flicker of light, slipped into his mind and touched a place deep inside. "You know," Thomas continued, his voice lower now, as if he were sharing something sacred, "life doesn't always come with a clear script where you're the main character. Sometimes you're just passing through, an unnoticed figure in someone else's story. But even a single step back, a quiet moment, or the right kind of absence can shift the outcome of an entire life." Ethan swallowed hard, a lump forming in his throat. He thought back to all the days he had spent lying in bed, not wanting to do anything, feeling completely useless. All the moments he believed he had nothing to offer the world. But now he wondered, maybe, just maybe, in those moments, without even knowing it, he had stayed out of the way. Maybe he hadn't added to someone else's traffic jam. "So, what you're saying is, sometimes just being alive is enough?" Ethan asked, his voice small but filled with hope. "Not just enough," Thomas smiled, eyes warm. "It's precious. You don't have to do something grand. Just live kindly. Be aware of the world around you. Even when you can't see the impact, your presence or your timely absence can help good things happen." Ethan didn't respond right away. He just sat there, letting his grandfather's words settle in. For the first time in months, he didn't feel empty. He didn't have all the answers, but he was beginning to see something clearly. Maybe life had more meaning than he thought. He just hadn't been looking at it the way his grandfather did. In today's world, where success is often measured by how visible you are, and where it's so easy to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to glossy online images, Ethan and Thomas's story is a gentle reminder. A person's worth isn't always found in big achievements or global recognition. Sometimes the meaning of life lies in quiet, simple moments, like making way for an ambulance, or just living kindly, slowly, without adding more chaos to someone else's world. Not everyone is a doctor, a firefighter, or a hero doing extraordinary things, but anyone can be the person who quietly steps aside, who chooses not to push forward, or who simply lives well without needing to prove anything. Life, when it comes down to it, is a beautiful web of unseen connections. Every choice, every moment you exist, no matter how small, can ripple outward and touch someone else's life in ways you may never know. When Ethan left his grandfather's house that evening, the sky was still gray, but his heart felt lighter. He walked forward, and for the first time in a long time, he didn't just feel like he was existing, he felt like he was living.